Well, hello, young and the restless daily recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, September the 22nd, 7th, 2022. Tuesday, September the 27th, 2022. Before I begin, I want to definitely let everyone know that's in that hurricane's path. Look, our prayers are with you. Stay safe. All right. And the good thing is you can catch up on these recaps once power is restored. If you lose power, but please stay safe. Okay, we had an actually interesting show today. A lot of new dynamics coming to play in Genoa City. The funniest thing is Diane brings this hideous, and I mean hideous basket, the kind of basket you bring to somebody you don't like, to somebody you've never seen eat a store-bought, a grocery store-bought Entenmann's box of donuts, okay? We're talking store-bought donuts in there, and whatever crap was thrown in this monstrosity. Okay. So of course she has to bring it right by Jack's office. And Phyllis is like, oh, bringing a basket to work for your bosses. And she's like, no, it's for you, Phyllis. And Jack happens to come out, of course. And Phyllis is like, oh. And she goes, but don't eat it all at once. See, Diane threw the first little jab. So Phyllis was like, ooh, goodness. So she sits it down on the table and says, you could definitely take this back, but you know, they kind of banter back and forth lightly. And Diane is like, I'm just brought this peace offering so that we could bury the hatchet, Phyllis, so that we could create a really good work environment. We see Jack like, okay, that went well, okay. And Phyllis, what I love about it, Phyllis still remained herself, Phyllis, right? And Jack said some minor thing because Phyllis was on her it seemed like she was going to be on a tangent, and Jack interrupts and she goes, wait, let me finish talking. Let me finish, Jack, because she told Diane, how convenient you bring this monstrosity into the office so that, for one, and you time it so that Jack can come out of the office. Yeah, okay. That wasn't obvious, right? And so then Diane just looks at her um and says, and Phyllis is like, so whatever, but so then Jack interrupts and Phyllis says, no, let me finish. And she tells Diane, but you know what, Diane? She says, she reaches over, she puts out her arms. I want to bury the hatchet too. And she puts out her arms. And these video cameras not really getting it. Like, come on, bring it in, girl, bring it in. Give me a hug, girl, bring me a hug. And Diane's like, what are you? And Phyllis just grabs her around her neck, that kind of friendly hug that you want to just squeeze somebody's neck off with. That kind of friendly hug. And Diana's kind of like, oh my God, oh, whoa. And the funny thing is, before she did the hug thing, she had already said, she made sure her final part of that speech, Kyle and Summer had just walked in, and Phyllis kind of caught a glimpse of them. So the last few things that she said were, look, I want to get along. Whatever she said, right? And that's when she reached up, and she hugs her. And as she's hugging her, she's almost like gritting her teeth in her ear, saying, we gotta find a way to make this work, Diane. So you can hear the tone of this hug is not a friendly hug. And Jack is over there looking like, Phyllis is trying. this might work. You can see his lips in the back of his picture. He's like, oh my goodness, wow. And so Diane not pushes, but she's not even really hugging her back, but she kind of squeezes and kind of moves Phyllis away from her. And Phyllis just looks, and Kyle and Summer step up, and Kyle's like, what's going on here? And Phyllis steps back. Is there a problem? And Jack's like, no, not at all. Jack is all like, woo, hey. Diane brought Phyllis a gift, and Phyllis offered, they're trying to bury the hatchet. Jack is all stupid Jackish, right? So Summer says, Mom, can I talk to you for a minute? Jack, can I use your office? He's like, sure. So she takes Phyllis in the office, and Phyllis is like, look, okay, I was trying out there. I was trying, and if what I did wasn't good enough, then you got to get a whole new mom, and Summer just reaches in and hugs her mother so tight and says, thank you, Mom, thank you, because it meant so much. And it was funny when Summer and Kyle were watching the whole incident, Summer was looking like, what? And Kyle was looking like, what's going on there? What's going on there? But see, Summer was touched because she truly wants to believe her mother's gonna try. And that is something so unlike Phyllis to do what she did. So Summer believes she is truly, truly trying. But look, the only reason Summer's truly trying Phyllis is truly trying because Nikki said, look, I got some good dirt in LA, and just, string Diane along. So Phyllis is kind of smoothing things out, stringing her along so that, their plan could work. And after Summer hugged her, and Phyllis realizes how much her daughter does want her there, right? But Phyllis still remained Phyllis. She told her, this is so hard for me. This is so hard. I will never trust that woman. Never. But I want this job. I'm going to do my best to just get along. Because I want this working relationship and our mother-daughter relationship. And she says, you know what I've decided. See, the lies are going to come out on their own. I'm telling you, they're gonna come out. And I'm not gonna have to do a thing to make it happen. And I thought, finally, Phyllis, I hope you really believe that, because Diane's lies are about to catch up with her. Okay? So don't do anything. Let it happen. Let's see what Nikki is doing. And bottom line, I wouldn't have a problem making Nikki the fall girl. Nikki is not gonna, Summer's biggest relationship is with her mother, not her grandmother. So Summer will forgive Nikki from afar and won't be as hurt. That's just grandmother, but yet let Nikki do the dirty work. Nikki doesn't care. She'll do it if she can be the one blowing the whistle, So that was pretty interesting to me. I thought finally they made Phyllis not just blow up, right? And as Phyllis is going into the office with Summer, Diane looks at Kyle and Jack, and she goes like, and she looks at her back like, see, I tried with that crap that's in that basket that you wouldn't even give your son or his wife, right? And look at what she does. She just, So then it shows Diane and Jack are at society. No, Diane and Kyle are at society. And she said, I just try and, see, still, people aren't really paying attention to what Diane does every chance she gets, right? Because while Phyllis was talking to her and Jack was there, she goes, "Ooh, I saw you left mighty early from the gathering. Like something was upsetting you. What's going on? Like you were," and Jack is like, "You know what? I was wondering where you went to. Where'd you go?" That was a young person's party, and I'm older. I was tired. Since when has that ever bothered Diane? Any chance she could get to be around her son and reconnect, she would just stay for every waking hour, right? So anyway, Kyle Jack shows up because Diane was waiting for takeout, and Jack had ordered he was going to pick his takeout up, and Kyle has to leave because this summer texted him that there's a meeting he was missing. So Diane and Jack talk, and of course Diane wants to go in on Phyllis. Just that's what she's doing. Now remember, when Jack was with Phyllis, he would say, "Look, just don't even talk about Diane. You know, I'm sick of that. But say that to Diane. Don't even talk about Phyllis. It's a done deal." But Jack was like, "No, I think Phyllis met you halfway." Jack was not on Diane's side 100%, and Diane is not used to that. So she had to kind of back off a little bit of the Phyllis bashing, right? Because she's supposed to be the one trying to bury the hatchet and giving this basket as an olive branch, right? So Diane gets a text, and the text says, "I am in Genoa City. We need to meet." And her whole face just dropped. I mean, noticeably. And Jack is like, "What is going? Bad news? What's no, 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 no. But I do have to go. I have to go take care of something." And Jack is looking like, what is going on with her? Because in his mind, he's thinking, okay, now this is the second time you have gotten a text, right? The second time, and your face just drops. Jack's thinking, something's going on with her. Okay. So then the next interesting topic is Nate decides, see, Nate and Victoria now are in his office. I'm hoping, what's her name? Audrey Charles is her name, the IPO girl. I'm hoping she does a little snoop detective with folks, and she's going to see Nate and Victoria with their heads together on some occasions. I'm hoping that. Because at the coffee house, after this meeting with Nate, and I'm going to get back to this meeting with Nate in a minute, Victoria goes into the coffee house to get herself some coffee. And Audrey Charles is there. And Victoria Newman, when Victoria turns around, like, "I'm sorry, do we know each other?" And she puts her hand out. "I'm Audrey Charles. I'm here on business in Genoa City. I'll be working with Chancellor Winters." And she goes, like, kind of like, "Well, how do you know me?" And she goes, "Look, anybody that knows anything about the business world knows about you, Victoria Newman, here in Genoa City. And I've done my homework." And she tells her, "I would love, and I read that you, Newman, is acquiring a lot of companies, a lot of good acquisitions." And she's like, "I would love for us to get together for lunch or something, and talk about it." And so she goes, and Victoria's kind of looking like, "Really? So she goes, "What exactly is your position, or what are you doing? What's the nature of your what are you doing for Chancellor Winters?" And she goes, "Consulting. But you know what? I really can't go any more into it than that." And Victoria's like, "Of course. Oh, of course." So Audrey Charles is going to be, I don't know, it's interesting the way she's going to be digging and getting into things. So then we have so let me go back to Nate and Victoria. He's talking, and Victoria tells him that was he sure, that he could go through with it, and then he kind of indignantly, she goes, "Are you sure that you can handle it, that you can go through with this. And he looks at her, why do you ask that? And she kind of looks at him like, hmm. But one, you don't kind of snap back at me like that. Now, he didn't do it the way he does Devon, but his comeback, he goes, wait a minute. Are you having second thoughts? See, Nate is too full of himself. And when he said that, she kind of lifted up her head and she kind of looked at him like, Houston, Houston, you're not going to be the CEO of one of my major holdings, actually a holding that's probably as big as my lock division, right? So she goes, no, not at all. I'm just, and Victoria's being her smooth and, her victorious self. And then he talks about his great plan. Oh, his great plan to do this, and I'm going to usher in a new era where this and where love and harmony and peace prevail. I mean, it was just ridiculous. Canned, you saw this out of a doggone movie speech he gave her at the end. And I thought, you know what? I can't stand you, Nate. Can't stand you, because she goes, once again, we have to be very careful. This could have some serious legal ramifications for you and I. Good. Remember that, folks. And then he says, oh yeah, they brought in a whole, IPO consultant, Audrey Charles. And Victoria looks, she goes, wait a minute. They brought in an outsider. See, I'm thinking, yeah, Victoria, somebody that's going to be looking at everything versus novice people doing an IPO. So she goes, well, that could be dangerous, putting someone, a outsider in charge of. He goes, no, ooh, she's really good, and she this, she that. He's singing her praises, and she's thinking, yeah, now we got to be even more careful, right? So, they end their meeting. They made their meeting and or finished their meeting, and it shows Nate at home. And Nate is walking in. Elena is on the couch doing a text, as you can tell. I had to answer this very important text. Look, this is real life, right? Real life is doing this daily recap. I had to respond to a quick text. So anyway, she gets up, she closes her tablet, and she gets off the couch, and she was going to go upstairs. She goes, Elena, wait. Elena, you've been avoiding me. I noticed you've been avoiding me. It is obvious, right? So Elena, I'm looking for that picture now. So Elena stops and she turns around and she goes, yes, I have. But I don't want to fight with you, Nate, anymore. Bottom line, see, it's almost like what Nate is complaining about. I can't have an opinion around you. I can't voice it if it's not exactly what you want me to say or the opinion you want me to have. And she goes, this is wrong. And she just out and out tells him, Elena lets him know that I can't live with this, And he goes, look, what you have to understand, she goes, I believe you need to slow down, Nate. You need to slow down. You need to change course. You didn't even learn the ropes. You need to learn the ropes in business. And Nate says, what do you mean learn the ropes? I have strong leadership skills, big ideas, and the ability to execute. Elena looks at him and she says, how do you know you have these skills? How do you know? What have you successfully executed? And he looks at her, well, nothing. That's because Devon has shot down all of my ideas. And she just looks at him. And I thought, excellent. I am so glad you said, what have you done? And how do you know? Okay. He can't even tell Victoria anything he's successfully done except devious and sabotage and trading company secrets, all the attributes of someone I would never bring into my organization. Yeah, I'll use you and make you the fall guy, but I'm not going to put you in a trusted position. Right. And so Elena just tells him, you know what? I can't go along with this. This is not going to work for me. And we need some time apart. And Nate looks at her. She goes, you are not the man that I fell in love with. Mm-mm. She goes, I don't even recognize you. And I was like, finally, thank you, Elena. Move out. You know, she's going to move into the Grand Phoenix. But is she going to tell Lily? She needs to tell Lily. See, so now what I love is this is going to leave things open for Nate to try to smooth the IPO person. What's her name? Audrey. Smooth Audrey. Probably try to get Audrey in the sack to give her some secrets on what she's working on. Let Amani come back to town and see Audrey in the mix. Amani's not going to like that at all, right? So Victoria and Audrey are still in the coffee house. Allie has left. Him and Noah were at the coffee house. They had their own little conversation. I'm not interested in them at all. Noah's still sitting there. And you know what popped into my head? What popped into my head is she better not be Noah's ex-girlfriend. For one, she seems too old for him. For two, in Paris, they both had a career. I think she was an artist. Noah was the photographer, right? And Noah's career started taking off and hers really wasn't. And that's where the problem came in, right? That's what Noah said. This chick better not be. She's too I don't know. I couldn't even see them together, not even on a far distant planet from ours, right? You know, no, that's not she is that's not Noah's type, and Noah is not her type in any situation. But it's interesting that they're both in the coffee house at the same time. Now, what I could see happening is Noah maybe getting a crush on her or getting interested in her, you know. I could see that. I could see that. So we shall see what's going to happen with the Allie situation. Okay. We've got some play with that. Now, last but not least, this was an interesting Young and the Restless day. Last but not least is Chelsea, the train wreck, the absolute train wreck. First, she goes to Billy and I heard Johnny's having a problem, but I bought something for him. I bought something for him. This is a blanket I bought when Johnny was a baby. And I thought, what do you mean you bought when Johnny was what? And I held on to it all this time. You know, yes, I would let Connor play with it, but it was just never seemed right because that was always Johnny's blanket. So I held on to him, and I would like for you to give it to him to let him know that I've had something of his all this time, and I, always loved him and cared, for him. Billy looked at her, and Billy let her know, I feel this is completely inappropriate. Completely. And Chelsea looked at him like, she goes, not only have we just told you, because he goes, my son, and I'm happy the way he said it, my son is having a hard time accepting this. I wish I'd never listened to you and told him because he didn't want to know. He didn't want to know. And now for you to just insinuate yourself into this, which is something Victoria and I strictly laid out to you. You are overstepping, Chelsea, and you need to back off. And Chelsea's looking at him, and Lily's like, "Can I see the blanket?" So Chelsea, like, "Here, take it. I'm talking anyway, right?" You know. And Lily looks at it, and she just politely starts folding it up and putting it in the gift bag, right? And she steps around the desk and she's saying, this is just a delicate time for all. And pretty much what they're asking is space, Chelsea. And Billy says, Billy told her almost like, "Don't call us, we'll call you. If and when Johnny is ready." Because he didn't even want to know, and we told him anyway. We shouldn't have told him. And Chelsea's like, "Well, I'm sorry you feel that way." And she took her bag and she walks out of there. And where does Chelsea go? This chick goes to Victoria's office. Victoria, who is still, hurt about the way Johnny accepted it, although she was supposed to only be in the office to pick up some files and then go and spend the day with Johnny, but somehow she stayed, and she looks up when Chelsea knocks on the door, "Victoria." And she goes, "This is not a good time, Chelsea. I just wanted," Chelsea's like, "I don't care. Okay, I just wanted to thank you for telling Johnny. And, Billy tells me that, Johnny had a little hard time with hearing the news, but I still feel this is the right move. And I feel that we all need to, kind of come together and nudge Johnny in the direction of acceptance." Right? Victoria stands up from that desk, and I thought, yeah, here we go. Let her have it, Victoria, because she is way out of line. And she lets her know, for one thing, we shouldn't have told him. He said he didn't want to know. I had reservations all along about this. And for you to come over and think that we're going, no, she goes, "No, Billy and I are not going to nudge our son Johnny in any direction. This is Johnny's choice." And she steps up into Chelsea's face and said, "As his mother, I'm going to protect him. And if I find out that you are trying to go around and circumvent my son's wishes," Victoria's like, "you're going to have me to deal with." And Chelsea's like, and her eyes are, and she just turns and she saunters out of the office. And I thought, what did you think you were going to accomplish, Chelsea? Everybody now can see you have an ulterior motive, period. What that ulterior motive is, I don't know, but it won't happen. It's not going to happen. And nor should they let it. This woman is a loose cannon. Seriously. Adam needs to take Connor from her. Chelsea is just off the chain, out there wild. Okay. So that's how that ended. And I thought, good. Now you can see Adam at the park, run into him and tell him your day still was brought bad, because she's making it from bad to worse. She's making her day from bad to worse. So let's get into comment corner. Comment corners. Dido says Trevor St. John is supposed to be seen. Actually, it's on Wednesday's show. He is connected to Diane. And thank you, because I also did some research. He was the ex-Todd recast, Todd Manning on One Life to Live. And then later on, they decided to make it like, no, he wasn't Todd. He was Todd's twin brother that had Well, you know how they do soap operas when they decide, because I think they brought the original Todd back, and then how could the, almost like a Jason, Drew was Jason, and then now, whoops, Jason comes back, Steve Burton comes back, so now we got to make him a twin brother, okay? So yeah, let's see. I guess Tucker had nothing better to do, because the last thing we saw of Tucker was on top of some mountain getting connected with his spiritual self. Remember, Devon a few years ago went to go find Tucker, and he had to find him up on this mountaintop, and he connected and talked with his father. So I guess he had enough of that connecting with his inner self, and ended up in LA with the likes of a Diane Jenkins. And if he was connected to Diane, it wasn't up to any good, right? But with Tucker coming to town, and we have a comment a little bit later on this, Tucker is a very, very wealthy man. Tucker is what Devon is going to need to help balance the scales with this hostile takeover. Tucker. I saw something on Soap Opera Digest. Oh, this is going to be maybe the new person for Sharon. I don't know. I don't know, but at least he's going to be a stabilizer for Devon. And Tucker McCall was very shrewd. I think he was kind of a ruthless businessman. So this is going to be good. This is going to be good. And Brooklyn says, Tucker's Diane's secret. That's the man that Deacon was talking about, that he saw Diane with in that Bentley driving around LA with. And she goes, hopefully Tucker helps his son Devon against Victoria and Victor. I'm hoping so too, because Lily and Devon aren't a match, but Tucker is a definite match, because Tucker can get down and dirty. This is going to be great. And then she goes, loves my reviews. Thank you so much, Brooklyn. Although you used my name, Brooklyn. But anyway, Monique says, the way they age kids, Johnny will be in college in the next episode. I know they do age him. The only kid actor that they did not age, and you're talking about the other soap on General Hospital, is Robin. Well, guess what? They did not age Molly Lansing Davis at all. And they did, well, I can't say at all, because this Molly came in when Molly was 8, still Molly into adulthood. Robin was Robin, I think, at age 4 or 5. And then they kept Robin. And guess what? They have not aged Emma Drake since about 3 or 4. But they are going to be aging Emma Drake. They're going to bring her into college soon on General Hospital. Emma Drake will be coming to town, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But wrong soap opera, Monique. But anyway, but I understand your point. They do age children fast. And look, little Katie's going to be prissy too, right? And then Libby says, telling a child who his birth mother doesn't happen while you're sitting at a park in a public place. I know, especially when he said, I don't want to know. So you explore those reasons and discuss the fact that other people know. And then, as his adoptive parents, except Billy's not his adoptive parent, only Victoria is. That's Billy's biological child, and he knows that. The parents, they sprung it on him like that. I know. He goes, just like overnight, Faith really went from being sick to not knowing what was making her sick to needing a heart kidney transplant the next day, and then getting it. Wow, within a matter of a few days, right? And Libby says she may be away for days if we lose power because of the hurricane. She's in the cone, and there's uncertainty. It was formerly the bullseye. Well, Libby, look, our prayers are with you. You stay safe. And then Dito says, exactly. They could have done a better job with talking to Johnny than at that park in a public place, and they did a rush job with it. And then she also tells Libby, stay safe, sister friend. That's right. Stay safe. We want you safe, and we'll see you back here. And Crystal says, when Johnny said he didn't want to know, that was a clue. Billy, Victoria, shut up. I know. And Dito says, thank you. If my child tells me he doesn't want to know who their birth parent is, let it go and move on. Because the truth of the matter is, they are going to come back and say, okay, I want to know. At some point, they will want to know. And that is the point that you should tell them. But at least they're going to always know you're willing to tell them. And there are other people that do know. So when you're ready, we got the name is right here in this envelope. But anyway, no, we're ready to talk to you, right? Yeah, and everybody's disagreeing with telling them at the park. That's just like, you know what, I'm getting ready to break up with my boyfriend. Let me do it at the park. Well, actually, you know what? You might want to do it at the park, so no tomfoolery happens. I retract that statement. Some things you do want to do in a public place, but when it comes to delicate information, you're telling a child, safe place like home, a safe place for them, so they could go stomp off to their room if they want to. Now, where was he stomping off to? He's stomping off to having to get in a car with whichever parent that brought him there versus going up to the room, slamming the door. But anyway, let's see. Since great. The Foxy Lady 14, she had a great comment. She says, the romantic interludes with Nick and Sally together are like watching paint dry. Absolutely, I feel the same way. I really don't like Nick's treatment of Phyllis at the end of their relationship. I know. The only place he's consistently caring is with Sharon and his kids. Sharon can do no wrong. He might be mad at her for a hot minute. Look, she could change the paternity of your daughter and allow your daughter, Summer, to think she was another man's child, Jack, for a good year or more. And actually, back then, Summer and Kyle were about to get together when they found out, oh my God, we're brother and sister. Sharon did that lie. Phyllis was in a coma at that time. Sharon let that heartbreak go on. Nick found out, of course, it came out later, right? And he was mad at her for a hot minute. But soon enough, of course, he forgave her. But she feels that Chelsea is going to, of course, and I feel it too, she's going to get to Johnny, and she's going to try to force herself, insinuate herself into his life, and Johnny is going to go ballistic on her. And Chelsea, I know, she goes, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to help. I care about, no. And Annette said, yesterday Johnny needed a babysitter. Now today he's in junior high. Robin says, stop it, Nick. I wanted Adam and Nick to have their closer bond. Well, look, that's gone out the window. Johnny's not going to make it easy for Chelsea. She seriously needs help. Nope, Devon and Lily outsmart Nate, even if Elena has to tip them off. Oh, she hopes that you know what? We'll see. I'm praying that the writers do the right thing and just don't do the lazy thing and retell the same old story. But by Tucker coming to town, I think we're going to have a different twist. Joseph says, I hate Nate. Oh, I want Nate to go to jail. Victoria is power hungry. Sometimes I wonder what the writers are thinking and why Victoria gets away with so much. I don't know. They're trying to do a rehash of Victor. Victor always got away with stuff. And Joseph says, Chelsea wants Billy and Billy wants Victoria. Chelsea is sick. She has mental problems. I want to say Billy loves Victoria. But Billy knows he and Victoria don't work together. They just don't work, And Medora says, I'm sick of Sally and Nick. Sally can't go 5 minutes without a man. Nick saying, I understand Adam more, but I'm cool with sleeping with his ex, who still says she is in love with him. I know. But Sally is all about being the best CEO without doing any work because she sure hasn't done a thing, right? And LaShanta says Nick can't be without either. And Sally is really thirsty. Great comments, everybody. My goodness, my Young and the Restless comments are starting to pick up. But that's because you know what? We're having more to talk about. We are. We're honestly having more to talk about on the Young and the Restless, which is a good thing. So I will be back for tomorrow, Wednesday's daily recap, September 28th. I will be back for more Young and the Restless daily recaps.